Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hearts, the podcast for young people. And in today's episode, I, myself, and Angelina are not going to be in this, as this is a special podcast for everybody, which is what happened at the launch. So this is a real good podcast. I hope you lots enjoy it. I hope you lots enjoy the talk that's about to happen because I know you lots are gonna love it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Like it's gonna be great. So have a cup of tea next to you, have something, I don't know, whatever you want to drink, whatever you want to eat, you have it next to you. You guys are gonna enjoy the show. So we can run the clip.
Hello, welcome back to another session of Hearts to Hearts. We are live and direct in the launch of the Hearts of Talents program. So today we are joined by some special guests who are going to go around and introduce themselves. So get ready, we're going to start off to the left here.
Hi, dude. I'm Steve, and I'm the operational manager here at Project Zero.
I think you guys know me by now. I'm Jerome Harvey-Agyei, one of the presenters and ambassadors for Hearts to Hearts, or Hearts of Talent, I should say.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Bishop Samuel Fredericks, and I'm here to represent the church or the faith tonight.
Hi, I'm Andrew, and one of the ambassadors
In Waltham Forest Council. Now, for my job, I engage with young people. So I have a team of young people who go directly to other young people who aren't otherwise engaged in services and activities in the borough. And what we do is signpost them to activities and services. And as you all know, when young people are out and about and they're doing jack all, they say, there's nothing to do here, I ain't got anything to do. And I found through my role, there's so many opportunities out there, whether it's an organisation such as Project Zero or whether it's the borough putting on like a 6-week workshop, there's lots. But it's about getting that information to the young people and encouraging them to get there. And also addressing their needs and concerns. There's no point in doing workshops, activities or holding opportunities in an area where young people don't feel comfortable going. So that's where the community aspect comes to it, is how do we kind of address those needs and concerns in order to get our young people back out there seizing every opportunity that comes their way. I mean, if I go to Steve, Jerome first.
I'll pass over to Steve, because I've been talking a lot.
Yeah, so we're here at the Outset Centre, Community Youth Hub in Walthamstow, and all our thing is about engaging young people in positive activities to promote social inclusion and reduce antisocial and offending behaviour. But yeah, we provide a wide range of activities. We find things that young people are interested in and devise programs and activities around that. But not just for them to have fun and socialise and meet with their friends, but to think about the things that they're good at, the skills that they have, the things that they would like to do in the future, and hopefully they will start finding out and finding their path and the direction that they want to take. But yeah, we think it's really important to provide out of school activities, because when 3:30 comes or 4 o'clock comes, you know, they'll find themselves on the streets if they haven't got a safe place to go, and that's what we're trying to do here at the centre.
Thank you for that. Pastor Sam, so when there is an incident that happens in the community and the community is a bit shaken up, how important is it for you to really increase that faith and strength in the community?
First of all, thank you. Very good question. The important thing, we have to identify where did it go wrong. What is the source that it happened, and how can we prevent it happening to someone else? I think it's important that the confidence that we have in our community, in the people, we as the religious leaders or faith leaders or bishops or pastors have to launch out and be their source of the next extended hand. Because we can only do so much, but seeing the pain and the suffering, what is happening presently, the church is saying, listen, we are here, not just to support you, but to rally around you, because it could be any sort of things that I can mention here, but the church is saying, we are available to assist, to guide, even to direct, even to protect.
That's brilliant to hear. And how would you say, how easy is it to get that message out there?
I think the one important thing is because we got social media.
Okay.
Many years ago, we had no telephone, iPhone, pads. Now it's actually easier because you can call, text, and even start a group in your community. And with that, I also believe personal visitation to the incident has a greater impact than a text or a telephone call. But stopping everything that you do and reaching out to someone means that person see that you care.
Real. Thank
So,
you for that.
so you got Instagram and social media. You're rocking with that Snapchat.
Well, I'm not doing Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok. No way. I leave that to the younger people, you know. But yes, it's important that as religious leaders and members of people that we serve, it is our duty to go out and be there for them. But like I said in the earlier program, we have failed. But we got to learn from our mistakes. Because if it happens to your child, to my child, who would be the first? Me. Because many of our kids are growing without parents. They're growing up with their grannies or uncles, and they need help. The church want to be there. So like I said, we did fail. But today we're going to rectify that and understand the pain and the suffering. But the church is the answer.
Real. Thank you for that.
Can I jump in with a question? How do you reach the ones who are, what we would say, deep in it? So in terms of those ones who are active in terms of committing violence and traumatized as well, how do you, in what you do, reach those young people? Because they're the ones that are, you know, there's a minority of them, but the devastation they cause is major. So what do you do in your roles to help with that?
It's a powerful question, that.
Yeah, we kind of try and take a non-threatening approach to the situation. So, I mean, we have many activities and events. So we might say, hey, just come out, we've got a sporting event going on. Yeah, we've got some football going on. We've got a snooker tournament going on or table tennis. And when they come and they see some of our trained and qualified youth workers and some of our peer mentors, and then we start talking about, we present good role models who succeeded and might have been in that situation beforehand, changed their life around, and they're now doing something positive, that they can see, oh, you know what, actually, there's something more that I can be doing than being on road, you know. But it's just taking that non-threatening approach rather than saying, all right, come in, sit down. We're going to sit down, have a one-to-one conversation now on chairs, and we're going to say, oh, you're naughty, you're bad, what are you doing wrong, you know. But more about like, come, here's a space for you, here's a place for you to be, and then we get to know them and build up a relationship.
What you're saying is very important, because in my line of work, what we say, and I think it's something for everyone, everywhere, no matter where you are in the world, to know is when you do come across young people and children in those situations, you need to look at them as a child first rather than a perpetrator or a threat. And I think that's what works so well in organizations and with people such as us, that we don't see the issue, we don't see the case, we don't read the file first. We see that young person, whether their name's Bob, Sam, or Harry, like we see them as them rather than, oh, I've got a list of files to read through and I need to read through all their documents and then deal with how the document would deal with it, how the system goes through it. And I think that's it. I think that's where some places have gone wrong, is that they look at them as they are presented in the system, not as they are as an individual.
Or what they could be.
What they could
or
be,
what they
exactly.
could be if they're given a chance. Yeah.
Exactly, Minister.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it was a wonderful question that you posed there, and I think as a faith-based person, you look at each individual on an individual basis in that respect, and you never look at something where it's too deep. How you look on it is, listen, there's a soul there, there's somebody who's hurting, yeah? And there's a phrase that really helps me. People don't care how much you know until you show them how much you care. And when you show people that you care, it's exactly what you say. So you're not looking at a file, you're looking at this individual. And if you can look beyond the issues that is presenting and realize there's somebody inside actually crying out for help. A lot of the things that they do is a sign of, I'm crying out for help. I'm trying to find myself. I'm trying to find who I am. Help me find myself. And I think with young people, when you show them that you care and you're actually interested in them personally, you begin to find that they open up. Yeah, you begin, and that's how you connect with them. You connect with them when you show them, look, I'll tell you what, I find if you can show somebody what you're going through, I've been there. I might not exactly have gone through what you're going through, but I know it. Either by experience or I know someone who's gone through it, they begin to open up instead of being judgmental. You approach them in a non-judgmental way. You find people open up. And that's how you take them from that deep situation into your world or into a better world, as it were. That's how I would deal with people like
I think
that.
one of the most powerful things when we meet a young person, the most, obviously it's a bit more so before COVID times, but just to reach out your hands, to shake them when you and to greet them. You know, you can tell, say a lot of young people will go into certain settings or they go for an interview or whatever, and already they're thinking that people have already got an image of them, they're already thinking of them, they're already scared of them. But just by able to reach out and say, hey, hi, you know, and I'm interested in you.
Absolutely.
You know.
And let me just say something there. You got me the flow now. No,
He's back.
As you said that, Steve, I was going to say as well, if you can speak their language, you connect. If you go to France and you want to connect with the French people, speak French. Don't speak English. You put them off straight away. So if you can speak their language straight away, they will connect with you. They'll open. Now, you don't have to be swearing. You have to use anything explicit, but speak. And even if you don't know their language, speak the tone. Use the tone straight away. They feel less threatened. You know what? I can relate to you. Let me open up with you. So I think that's how you can reach people.
I'll give you a quick example, actually. One of the boys I work with, actually. So he got out of, let's say, a sticky situation. And he was meeting with a solicitor. And at first he was thinking, like, when he's meeting with this solicitor, how should he present himself? Because he's only seen the solicitor, you know, on Zoom, and when he's in suits and shaved and everything like that. And then when the solicitor came to visit to his house to speak to him, he was like, okay, do I put my cool white voice or do I speak like how I normally speak? As you were saying, as soon as the solicitor came, reached out his hand, greeted him well, he's like, I can be myself. Now imagine that's a solicitor. That's kind of when you've gotten into a sticky situation. But imagine before that, if a youth worker, a teacher, is there agreeing, you can feel like you can be by yourself, like on your own, and you can kind of be yourself. That's powerful within itself, because instantly that respect is there. And as soon as he met he listened to every single word his solicitor was saying and did that extra work that he had to do. And imagine that in a school setting now, when you're there 6 hours a day, or you're in college every single day, and if you have that one person you know you can rely on, that you can just kind of let your guard down, have those open conversations with, that's power within itself.
Absolutely.
I want to touch on responsibility, because I feel historically there's been a lack of it, and like for me, with what I do when I'm working with youngsters, especially like the ones who are most troubled, I love working with them because I feel responsible. What do you feel? Where do you think we're at in terms of responsibility? In terms of, because I've seen, you know, we've spoken to the police today, we've spoken to loads of different people, and there seems to sometimes be this kind of like, oh, it's their job, it's their job, it's their job. So, and what I'm hearing is like, actually, it's all of our jobs. So, what, in terms of the word responsibility, what does that mean to you, and how do you think we need to be taking it as a community?
Yeah, well, I like the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. We are all responsible. Yeah, you can't put it down just to the parents. You can't say it's just the parents. You can't say it's just the teachers. You can't say it's just the police. We're one. We're one community, one set of people. We have to all be responsible, you know. And if we take that mentality, if we take that view, our young people will have a chance. Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember when we grew up as a child, and if you did something wrong, the neighbor would tell your mother. You would get a hiding from your mother and the neighbor.
On top.
Yeah. On top.
Triple. Yeah.
But that was then.
Yeah.
But because times has changed, and it made life more challenging. I used to be a prison custody officer, and I used to sit with people in my cell. And they do realize we all make mistakes. But then sometimes you have to look at the upbringing and the generational that come from top down. And because we're living in a society that it's not my problem, it's not my child, it's not my community. But if we look at the bigger aspect, we all can mess up, and we did. But there are some people that you have to take by hand and lead them. There's some people you can sit down. There's some people you can just give instructions. But because we live in a society that's not my problem. At the end of the day, as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, it is my responsibility too, to spend some time with someone who needs extra care. And that is the problem that we have. We are so busy in our environments, in our own doing, we sometimes miss the point of someone that needs an extra leading hand. And that is something that only God can give you, is patience, understanding. Very good to take the responsibility to listen to the request of the person, and that we don't always have. And also, I've also discovered as a minister that the responsibility lies both ways, but you also have to give the person the accountability and laying some rules down that will help him and impact him or her. And at the end of the day, that person, you know, children don't listen to you, but they will listen to the neighbors.
Yeah.
I don't know if you experienced that.
Yes.
So if somebody else speaks to your child, yeah, he listens quickly. The minute you as a parent speak, they don't always listen.
What are they doing?
Yeah, you understand, you know where I'm coming from. But when you speak to some child, they would tell you, you know what, that makes sense. And then they take those words. But then it's also important when you take that responsibility, you give them a time frame. And that time frame is vitally important. You must keep your appointment with them. And that is what they look at, trust.
Hold yourself accountable too.
That's also important. But then, in a world that we live in, an idle world, it's easy to pass the buck. And in a world today, as a faith leader, as a bishop of the Lord's house, I have accountability too, because they are shepherded from somebody else. And God has entrusted us, and we got to reach out beyond measure, because the kid needs help. We got to look at where he comes from, how he's been developed. That's why he doesn't want to go to school. Address the problem, but have time and patience. Then you give some guidelines, not just to the mother, the father, but to the child. But you got to have patience. But the responsibility is a broader aspect.
Beautiful question again. I genuinely believe, just concur with everything Bishop said there, that society we live in now, or the society we live in now, is always past the buck. It's a blame culture. Yeah, and because it's a blame culture, it cascades down to our children. But if we're going to develop mature children that's going to become mature adults, we need to empower them to take responsibility. I'm playing with words here now. Responsibility is basically a response to your ability. I know I'm playing with words, I know. So it's a response to you have the I expected a louder clap than that, but I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah, it's a response to your ability. You have the ability to do something, so you must do it. And when you blame other people, what you're doing now, you're taking away your power from yourself. You're actually taking power from yourself and giving it to someone else. I can't control you, Steve. I can't control, but I have control over myself. So if you can empower me from a child, take responsibility for your actions. Don't blame the police. Listen, we know this systemic racism in the institution of the police. But don't blame the police for everything. Don't blame the police for your color. No. You can still rise up and succeed. And I'm a man of faith, just like Bishop. So your faith will tell you can move mountains if you believe. You understand what I'm trying to say? If you believe you can move mountains, but that means taking responsibility. And I think if we learn to do that, stop blaming McDonald's because you're obese. No, take responsibility for your appetite. Make sense? Stop blaming the credit card for your debt. No, take responsibility for your spending.
Responding for your ability.
Exactly.
Talking about responsibility, I grew up in apartheid era in South Africa, but it didn't stop me to climb. Exactly. I had to take responsibility. Exactly. I might not have reached my goals, but I know how to reach goals without their help. Yes. At the end of the day, it's your responsibility, but it also takes the initiative to move forward.
Yeah. Can I say as well, it's stuff like this. So you know some of the stories you're talking about, apartheid and how you still came, those gems, like for me, I never knew what it meant to be a man. So I never knew what a positive model of a man was, because I didn't grow up with my father, so I was always seeing stuff. Yeah. And there's a level of vulnerability and a level of like the time you say, the quality of time around hearing the stories from older men for me, and probably for women, older women, about that journey of becoming a man. And I've spoken to someone about it, about me not knowing what does it mean to be a man in this current society with such a mix of cultures and heritage, and not knowing if like the rites of passage of how to get there. And so if a lot of people say, if you don't know where you've come from, how do you know where you're going, in terms of like tuning into something that you can have a sense of pride about. And I find that culturally, I had a conversation with an Afghani guy yesterday, and he was saying that, the village would come and meet as a community to speak about who's stolen this, or how we're going to take responsibility to build a house for someone or look out for someone. And it's like that sense of community, what Steve was talking about, is so beautiful. But I really value that kind of time. There's something in the quality of time, and having models of people that you want to become, like, that are positive and actually are responsible for like their healing. For me, I'm speaking to adults older than me who are clearly like still hurting from things from their childhood. So I wanted to lead into another question, which was about, what do you do in your roles to heal? What do you do because ultimately what I'm seeing out with the guys that are in the violent stuff is that they're traumatized and they haven't got any tangible tools to heal, because it's easier to access trauma than it is to access love. And so I just wanted to kind of get a sense from you all, what do you do to heal, but also what do you do to kind of, what's tangible that we can give away?
I think, going first and foremost, the easiest thing. So quickly addressing the previous question about responsibility, I think even though when individuals are working directly with a young person, everybody needs to share communication. And that's another thing that can really help elevate the young person, helping them to help themselves. But addressing the trauma and helping that young person feel so they can be healed and that they can help themselves, it's just listening to them. Honestly, I feel like you just try to overcomplicate things too much. And honestly, there's power in listening to somebody. And I don't mean just hearing that, I mean like truly listening and understanding and then just repeating back to what they said and really taking on some of that. You don't need to take on that trauma yourselves, but really try to put yourselves in their position and be like, wow, you're 13, you've seen and you heard all of this, and you're now going to school every single day to then go back home to look after your little sister. That's big stuff, that's huge. So just taking that in and then really trying to like give that young person the praise that they still made it in school today. They still came to the youth center today. They're still engaging with you today. That's big stuff.
Absolutely.
Those little things are big things to them, But that's the first ingredient I was going to say to answer your question. Is listening. That's it. Giving them the space, the time, and to listen. When you can do that, then to move mountains, really.
Exactly.
You said, how do we deal with trauma and heal?
Working in these depths of traumatized people, I'm feeling their energy. Sometimes I'll go home and I'm having suicidal thoughts and I recognize it's not my thoughts. I've carried that energy of being with someone else and like, I got them out, but I've got myself stuck. So then I have to meditate and recharge and be like, actually, I don't want to be around someone for a couple of days. So for me, I don't see enough of access to heal or to take charge of like our own, because we hear about mental health and even in mental health it's meant to all heal. And so what is it that we can do? What are the things? I know you guys are men of faith, so is there things within your faith that people can tangibly be like, wow, that's quite useful for me?
I'm going to take you quickly back.
Yeah.
When I was growing up in Cape Town, I had to sleep by different houses because the police was looking for me because of the situation. And as I grew up, we always had this in our mind that we're going to take revenge because of our situations. But then somebody said to me, that's not to gain anything until you heal from within. And always one of the things I've learned quickly before you grieve is find forgiveness. And once you have found forgiveness, your healing starts automatically. The trauma starts from within you. You can do whatever you want, you can go to any counselor, but you have to find forgiveness of yourself, because that's number one priority. You can do it, but you got to put some things in place. The hurt they've done, I have forgiven them, but I got my healing quickly, because now I'm free from the guilt, the hatred, the pain of what they done. So I rose quicker and I've adapted that. So even in the challenges of life, I think of the one case that my son was deported from this country. And I have a praise, like I said, when things go bad, praise God. When things go bad, praise God. Because when you sulk, you actually put yourself in a corner and you're looking for pity. But when you rise up, you learn by your previous mistakes. No, not everybody's the same. So we have to learn our own way to get out. But we have to practice things become stronger, because when you become older, you learn from your previous mistake. So I've learned in my journey, I don't grieve like some people grieve. I will put my music loud in the car and just sing it out. Because singing brings healing. It brings peace. But everybody handles it differently. I don't grieve like some people would grieve. I would do something different, because I know I'm a responsible person now, because I serve my community. So when my community see me, they don't see my pain, they hear my victory. Yes. And how do I do it? I don't lock myself up. I just take a walk and just praise God, because I know my strength comes from Him. And I can tell you many other stuff. We don't have the time. But my encouragement and my advice to people is talk to someone. Mm-hmm. If you're somebody that like to talk, get someone that you trust, that can keep your confidentiality a secret. That is vital, because that person will get quicker healed when he trusts you. If I speak to Brother Andrew and he tells everybody, what happens? The feathers are all out. Yeah. You will never trust another human being or person of faith or anybody. But as quicker you can find forgiveness in yourself. Trauma should not be your portion. It's not God's plan for your life. We all gone, some people went through divorce, abuse, and we have a lot of things. But there are some things you got to take ownership of and work it out between you and God. Even if you don't see Him, He is right next to you. So I've learned that secret as a minister when I was growing up through apartheid. And at the end of the day, the white man became my best friend, because I've learned to love him even if he didn't love me. Mm-hmm. And that is the secret. And I handled that traumatized matters in my youth. And I thank God I've overcome that enemy by finding forgiveness in someone what they've done.
Bro, thank you, Bishop.
Right,
so what I'm going to have everyone do, just for everybody that is watching at home,
yeah,
that aren't necessarily in positions such as ourselves, that have been working with young people, working with the community for years upon end, that's learned our experiences to help them.
Yeah.
How can we give them one line on how to empower themselves to empower each other?
Well, this will be part of my healing process as well. Yeah. I'm a strong believer in reading. I believe that reading, or you know the phrase, readers are leaders, reading definitely feeds you, builds you up. So I believe that if you're going to do anything like that to build yourself up, read. But read good material. Material that's going to not just feed your mind, but feed your spirit. We're a tripart being, spirit, soul, and body. And you want something that's going to reach the inner man, the core of you. Read good material. Now, obviously, Bishop and myself, we're people of faith. I read the Bible. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you have to read the Bible. I recommend it's a brilliant book, great book. But you know,
just saying.
Yeah. But I also read other books. I've just thinking about reading this a book from Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. So I like those types of books as well. But reading, really good for you, and listening to good music. Yeah? I don't want to do it right. I want to do it. Yeah. Listen to them kind of music there. Yeah. All right, that's my one-liner, Bishop.
Well, first of all, I want to tell someone who's watching us live and direct, believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. No matter what they think, no matter what they say about you, no matter where you come from, you can be the head and not the tail. If only you can take strong advice and follow your dream, you shall live and not die. You have an assignment on your life. Don't let the enemy or people influence you, because you know what? You're special.
Powerful. Go.
I'm stealing one from Minister Andrew. Respond to your ability.
Yeah, I think
I just think this is powerful. There's been a load of gems in here, yeah, but respond to your ability is going to stick with me, and I think that is where it is. We've all got this ability and this light inside, and we've all got two meanings to us. So no matter what happens in life, there's always two meanings you can access. You can access the suffering, or you can access the empowerment from it. And it could be the most terrible thing in your mind, but how do we know terrible things don't serve us? And so, yeah, like, it's just about choosing. It's down to you to choose what that response is to anything that happens in your life.
I don't follow any of that. What I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with know what a friend looks like. Ooh. Okay, because so many of our young people will follow this person and say, that's my friend, that's my brethren, and they're following them down to the police station, or they're following them to prison, because they're saying, hey, carry this, do this. That's not a friend. Know what a friend looks like. A friend is somebody who's going to guide you in the right way, that's going to tell you the right things to do. It's going to tell you when you're doing something wrong. So a lot of our young people, they just need to understand and recognize who they can trust, who they should really be walking with, who is a positive role model, and what that looks like. Wow. So that's
powerful stuff. Thank you all. So I'm going to bring it to a close and thank each and every one of you for coming and speaking for us today, sharing your knowledge, your experiences, and also your empowerment. So to you back home, that is it today. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.